I guess can you just kind of outline, first of all, where does your bowl stand in the new format and kind of how that all shakes out, maybe for someone who isn't totally familiar with the 12 team?
Yeah, so we're still in the 10th year of the contracts, the original 12-year contract. So what people don't understand is the Big Ten still has a contract with the Rose Bowl, and the Sugar Bowl still has a contract with the Big 12 and the SEC. So the highest ranked champ in the SEC, between the SEC and the Big 12, will go to the Sugar Bowl. The Rose Bowl will get the Big Ten champ, and then us and the Fiesta Bowl, or the other two quarters, we're kind of at large.
Right.
So right now with Boise and Arizona State in the winner of this game, the committee will decide on who we get and who the Fiesta Bowl gets, and then of the conference champ that's left out, they would be the 12th seed.
Right.
So that's the way
you told me preseason you thought the ACC champion would wind up in Atlanta at the Peach Bowl. But let me ask you that. So obviously if Clemson wins this game, they may not get a first round bye. They may not be in one of those top 4 seeds. Does that matter as far as playing in Atlanta for the Peach Bowl?
Yeah, then you go either Boise State or Arizona State comes to Atlanta, and the other one goes to Fiesta Bowl.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that's something you have obviously no control over. So you're just kind of going to be sitting there on Sunday and seeing who's going to be in Atlanta,
I fly
pretty
back
much.
Sunday
Right?
morning, and we'll get to my office, and we'll wait to see what Christmas presents we open.
SMU would be a pretty much a lock to play in Atlanta, do you think, or would lean that way if they were to win this game?
I would think the committee would probably put SMU in Atlanta and probably put either Arizona, I guess Boise, probably in the Fiesta Bowl, and then Arizona State would probably get the 12th seed.
Since we're talking about SMU, do you have a horse in this race, so to speak, as far as
pun intended?
It is. Thanks for catching that. Do the Stangs, if they lose this game, there's been a lot of talk, should they still be in the playoff if they lose
SMU?
tonight? SMU. Do you have an opinion on that?
It's not up to me. It's up to the committee.
Sure.
I would tell you that, we need to make sure that championship games are still relevant. And I think if you start to look at taking someone that plays in a championship game and knocking them out after going 8-0 in a conference, that's a tough call. It's not my call. It's up to the committee. But something, there's always unintended consequences with these playoffs. And I think that's one of them that we're learning. And I think the commissioners will, over this next year, probably look at what the new playoff looks like in 26 with a new TV contract. So I'm sure that's one of the things they'll take into consideration.
So it's kind of the chaos per se, or at least you really don't know what the sense of your bowl is if Clemson wins this game. You're kind of there's 3 teams, 2 quarterfinals, and that's where you're kind of like.
That's exactly right. You have 3 champs left, and it's up to the committee on where they want to put them. We'd like having any one of them.
Sure.
I mean, we're sold out, so we'll have a sellout either way. I did tell Dabo and Kirby in our Aflac kickoff game at the beginning of the season, they each want to play. Clemson wants to play 3 times,
Right.
and Georgia wants to play 4 times. Yeah. This is the second time for Georgia. They want to come back, and they'll probably play in the Sugar Bowl if they win this game, and then come back January 20th because we host the championship game as well. And in Clemson's case, if they win this game and they do get the bye, they would probably play in Atlanta, which would be the second time. And then, who knows? Once you get in the playoff, it becomes a game of momentum. If you can stay uninjured, and you get some momentum, anybody can win a playoff.
What is the compelling factors for colleges to play in your Chick-fil-A Bowl, Peach Bowl?
Well, first off, I think it's a bye, right? You're in the playoff, number 1. Number 2, you get a bye. And so I think those are the 2 big things. I mean, obviously, Mercedes-Benz is, I think, the best stadium in the country.
Sure.
Great sight lines, great fan experience. Atlanta's a great place to play. A lot of teams recruit Atlanta. We're one of the top recruiting bases in the country. So there's a lot of reasons to want to play in Atlanta, I think.
Absolutely.
And our committee, our volunteers, our board, our staff do a tremendous job along with Mercedes-Benz Stadium. It's a little bit different because we're not running a bowl game per se as much anymore, where we used to have teams in for a week. We'd have all kind of activities for them. Now it's more they'll come in probably Sunday night, probably get a dinner. Monday they'll practice, have media day, and then Tuesday they'll walk through and kick it off at 1 o'clock on Wednesday. And then they'll leave immediately after the game because they want to get back on campus because they got to prepare for the semifinal if they win the quarterfinal.
Wow, interesting.
I know you'd love to have a Clemson-Georgia rematch, either in the Peach Bowl or the national championship game. But about the Aflac kickoff down the road next few years, would you like to revisit that?
To have Clemson and Georgia?
Sure,
play
again.
Sure, yeah, we'd love to play. Anytime you can work with Graham and Dabo and Kirby and Josh Brooks, they're great people to work with. Next year we have 2 games in our Aflac kickoff game. We've got South Carolina, Virginia Tech. Both teams had really good seasons. And we got Syracuse against Tennessee. Both teams have had really, really good seasons. So we got 2 games next year. We'll play Saturday and Sunday to kick off the season next year. And then we have a semifinal at the end of the year. So it's the reason a lot of media call us the capital of college football. Within just about a calendar year, we'll host all 3 of the playoffs for the CFP. We'll host the quarterfinal this year, national championship this year, and a semifinal next year.
Acknowledging that you'd be happy no matter who is there in your game. What about Clemson? If they happen to get selected, they win, they happen to get selected, would excite you
Well,
about
we've
bringing them
hosted
in?
Clemson more times than any team in the country. They've been to the Peach Bowl more than any other team. I still remember when we had fax machines that their fans broke our fax machine one year. They sent so many faxes to come play, and they bring those $2 bills to Atlanta. So we love the economic impact they bring. So and as I said, Dabo and Graham are just great to work with, and Clemson always. Dabo's been on such a great run. He started the run in our Peach Bowl against LSU when they took Clemsoning out of the dictionary when they beat a top-ranked, top 10 LSU team. So, I think Atlanta's been good to Clemson, and Clemson's been good to Atlanta.
There's even been more history in that, Gary. We talked about this maybe a couple years ago before the Georgia Tech game that, Dabo, his first year as a wide receivers coach that was 2008 actually. His first year was 2003. 2008, Clemson played Alabama in Nick Saban's second year to open the season.
That's right. That was our first kickoff game.
And that game was, everybody thought Clemson was going to win that game. Alabama was unranked. Clemson was ranked really highly. And the rest is history.
6 weeks later, Dabo was the head coach.
Exactly. So to me, that's kind of, and then first time Dabo against Nick Saban. So, and of course Dabo's alma mater, Alabama. So to me, that was kind of a turning point in history. Exactly.
Hey Gary, talk to me a little bit about, you mentioned technology and fax machines. What about the growing technology efforts to bring new technology for the fans' experience?
Yeah, it was really interesting. I was just out at the Intuit Dome, Steve Ballmer's new place for the Clippers, and really impressed. It's probably the nicest basketball arena I've ever been in. It's obviously the newest, but high-tech, interactive Halo board. Like Mercedes-Benz has a great Halo board, but each seat in the Intuit Dome has a interactive connectivity to that board.
Wow.
The lights in there, are all interactive. So yeah, technology is a big part of obviously the game, and I always say that pro football leads college football by about 10 years. Mm-hmm. So you think about, what did we do this year? We brought iPads and we brought the green dot to the helmets.
Yep.
The NFL's been doing that for about 10 years.
Sure.
Right? So we're finally doing that. I could see kickoffs change in the next 2, 3, 4 years in college football.
And hopefully preseason games, right?
Well,
the only level of football that doesn't have preseason.
I really think we need to spend more time with the NFL and college football. It's something that's always bothered me, that those guys do it for a living. They're billionaires. They think about football every day. And, we don't have a real good relationship between college football and the NFL, which I think is a mistake. And I think as we continue to grow, we're the second most favorite sport in the country.
Absolutely.
Only behind the NFL.
Right.
And we've even seen it grow this year because there's more teams vying for those 12 spots. So attendance has increased in college football this year. Viewership has wildly increased. ESPN's numbers came out this past week are phenomenal what their viewership was. Partly because they went to ABC with a lot of games, but still there's such an interest in college football that it's a huge phenomenon right now, and this playoff's only going to help it grow even better.
For the loser of this, sorry, go ahead.
Oh.
Yeah.
being in Atlanta, just tell folks, for the holidays, you guys have a great college town for the holidays. If somebody in this bowl game coming down, what do you want to tell these fans what to do for like a weekend or come down for?
Yeah, I mean, Atlanta's got so much to do. Obviously, our hotels, we've got 16,000 hotels right downtown and walking distance to the Mercedes-Benz Stadium, but also walking distance to College Football Hall of Fame, which is a must-see. If you come to Atlanta, it's a unique, interactive experience. Talk about technology.
Yep.
Secondly, you got the world's largest aquarium. It's a must-see. The Civil and Human Rights Center, the World of Coke. So there's a lot to do right downtown that you can walk to, as well as walk right to the game. So.